last few years, I've looked at religious persecution in China and the repression of freedoms going on there. Under the current leader, Xi Jinping, things, according to most people, have grown increasingly harsh lately. We also know the Chinese government will implement their social credit system next year, where privileges, travel, education, and so on will be based on how good of a citizen the people are. To do this, the government has installed millions and millions of cameras to watch and track people, and they've rewarded a Ratty on Your Fellow Citizens program to help better find dissenters and people that don't follow all the rules. So why have things changed so much supposedly in China? China appeared a decade ago to be moving to more freedoms, cooperation with other nations, religious tolerance, and so on. The long answer is that the decision was made to eradicate external influence from their citizens' lives, while capturing aspects of religion that could benefit the state's interests. This control is really keeping outside influences out of China, and always to show that the government is the ultimate authority in saying what is allowed or not allowed. Muslims, Christians, and other religions are now being viewed as a threat, resulting in increased constraints and more intrusive controls. Re-education camps, churches being torn down, detainment of pastors, passports being taken, and so on, have totally changed the perception of any religious freedoms that a few years ago seemed to be improving. The Chinese Communist Party uses religious repression under the guise of public safety and interest. Under their constitution, Article 36 says, citizens rightfully enjoy freedom of religious belief, provided they practice normal religious activities. The word normal, though, is ambiguous and opens up broad interpretation. All Chinese religions are required to register as one of the 5 state-approved religions. Only religions approved under the law are allowed to meet. The reality is, no religion is truly free there more and more. Even approved religions are subject to oppression and threats of eradication. Harsher penalties such as building demolition, typically aimed at unregistered religious groups, have increasingly been done to state-sanctioned religious groups. Even something like praying or lighting incense are now drawing harsher punishments. And some children can't attend services or join religious groups. Reportedly, police are turning away children at the doors, even if they're accompanied by their parents. Are there actually signs that China's persecution of religions and other repression of freedoms may someday turn around? There are some signs that could be the case. Because of the religious oppression and other rigid state constraints, the number of people having opposite views is increasing despite the crackdowns. For instance, millions of believers defy religious constraints in their daily lives, both in public and in secret. Hopefully the government will realize that taking away rights will actually worsen things, including having the control the government sought after. International cries for China's government to end the religious crackdown and the oppression of freedoms appear to be increasing. But more and more nations and organizations still need to voice their concern and work with China's leaders to work out more tolerant and inclusive situations. It's reported that more and more police are not harassing and turning in resistors as they once were months ago when the religious crackdown started. If these reports are true, they will embolden, hopefully, more people to fight for their religious beliefs and individual freedoms. Finally, do you remember the famous ping-pong diplomacy in the 1970s between China and the U.S.? The two countries used ping-pong to change the way their citizens looked at each other. I don't know what that has to do with the current situation going on in China. I just thought it interesting how things started working better for a while through a game. This is H.A. Graves.